All right, everyone, we are back on Play It Forward with Margarita Jimeno. Margarita Jimeno, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kostia.
Very welcome. It's my pleasure and honor to have you. Talking about your film today, we're going to be talking about Swimming Away, and it is a really cool location. I mean, the production value is really great. You got great costumes. You've got this like futuristic past thing going on with like this sense of time and we're in this kind of like police state where people are in zones and sectors and there is a preferential zone and we want to immigrate to that preferential zone and there's a swim competition. Three finalists have been selected. They've very lucky to be here, and they're all preparing for the competition. And so a lot of the short film is this kind of historic setup, this context, their preparation. One guy is, he's got his wife or mother in his ear about something because they get to take one other person. And then this other guy is very determined and focused and militant. And then there's this young woman who's kind of like, I don't know, Santeria, like she's doing all this spiritual voodoo kind of. So everybody's doing what they can to win because they want this. They want this prize, and the prize is freedom, right? So it sounds like coming to America. I mean, I'm an immigrant. I came the Soviet Union years. We immigrated in 1979. There's a certain freedom that was achieved here. You got, this is what do they call America, the land of the free, brave? But that's the ticket. The ticket is to
Well,
win.
it's more
Yeah.
citizenship.
Citizenship. Okay, tell me what you mean by that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, well, I mean that film started off as a joke, or like let's say I was frustrated with always being asked how, like, as soon as people would find out that I was a citizen from the US, they would be like, "But how is that possible?" Because I have this accent. And because the answer is so boring, I was like, I could just like make up a silly story because it doesn't matter. So I started as a joke to tell people, no, I won a swimming competition. I swam from Colombia to New York. Many people were like, really? Like, people were really believing it. And I thought, this is so funny. And the years went by, and then I kept saying this. And then one day I was like, I should just make a film with this joke because it's kind of believable and it's kind of fun to imagine things, of course, as a filmmaker. And when I was writing it, of course, I could have made it on a specific country, but then I thought actually a lot of people are always immigrating to other places, which are also not only the US, because they need to have a better,
Absolutely. Yeah,
life.
there's other
Yeah.
places to go. Absolutely.
Yeah. So then I thought maybe it's better to just make it super generic, like song number one is the best one.
Well, so okay,
Yeah.
so there's very interesting here things dynamics going on. First, there's a theme in your film, and there's you can't get around. There's class, right? Citizenship has some sort of a class distinction. It's better to be here than there. So there's some sense of that I'm
There is some sense of that, but I guess like the thing that I still think, because this film I made in 2011, so it's pretty old,
right.
but it's still so true today, which is also crazy. But there is a darkness to the place that is supposed to be in song number one, right? Like it's falling apart. It's a little bit outdated. The guy at the end is making a silly joke with the gender, with like getting a wife.
Right.
And then he's saying, our contestant won, and then he gets to be, peeling potatoes for his first year, meaning, you're here, but you're still nothing. But in the situation, because it's a sci-fi movie, so in the situation of the sci-fi, people are outside and it seems like the world has collapsed and all that is left is this, building that is collapsing, but somehow it's better to be inside the building in this swimming pool that it's also kind of destroyed. But there was also like the idea of what are they going to do when they jump in the swimming pool? Are they going to swim in garbage or what? But of course, in the imagination of the characters, they are swimming in water, and in the film they do swim in water. But of course, we're seeing the reality versus what you think it is. So there's a lot of little themes kind of displayed
Mm,
in the film, and which is also represented by the choice of location.
mm.
And yeah,
So now we're talking about survival and we're talking about perception, okay? And the perception of in, out of the building, in, out of the zone. And there's your own psychology and your own psychology informed by your own immigration history. Whatever that history it is, you said the story wasn't interesting. I'm surprised. I mean, as a Colombian national, ethnicity, right? So we have ethnicity and we have nationality. So let's say, your parents came from Colombia, you have a Colombian accent, you're strongly raised amongst Colombian speaking people. Um, you have a Spanish accent. So you but you're an American citizen. So you have your citizenship, then you have your history, ethnography, right? So those are all pretty interesting things. And then and then you have like you're living in are you living in Europe now?
yeah,
Okay. So you're well traveled amongst zones. You've made your way
yes,
through the zones.
exactly.
And have you found the best one?
No, I think that's, in my experience, I think every place you're always going to find something that doesn't fit with what you believe in, or, there's always going to be something. So you just need to level things, like, I have all these good things, I have all these bad things. Can it balance each other out? So I
Well,
think that's more
you
how I see it.
Okay. So, and of course, there's the old expression, wherever you go, there you are. The one thing you take with you when you go through the zones is yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so we're now back at perception and our own perception of what it is we have and what it is we don't have and where we want to
Yeah, or
go,
or the idea that what is in your imagination is not the reality, right?
or there's something
And
better over there, right?
yeah, like sometimes you think, yeah, that's what I imagine, but then you are confronted with the reality.
Mm.
You can keep being in your
Being in your
imagination
imagination,
as a coping
right?
mechanism.
So
Mm.
now,
And
now,
so some people will never face the reality, face the truth.
mm, mm.
Which, I mean, I guess it's like the complexity of life itself, right? Like human beings are complex human person, you might think about something, but then the next day you think differently, and the next day and the next month we're always changing. And I think it's the same, of course, where the places that were created by humans to live together, they're also filled with complexity, filled with systems. The system that is in Europe is very different from the system in the US. So I think that I'm also interested in that complexity that is not it's not so easy to be, oh, it's completely this one thing or this other thing, and rather is made out of all these things that inform it.
So let's say the goal is of our characters and the characters in your film. What do we call it? Do we say is the goal materialism, acquisition? Okay, so money, people, power, whatever, cars, I don't know, films, or is the goal freedom, peace, happiness, um, a internal state of prosperity? Is it an internal state of prosperity or a material state of opulence or prosperity? So let's just say, well, the goal is internal. The goal is an internal state of liberation, right? We're trying to get to a zone that doesn't
Yeah, I just
exist.
think like it's not, I think in this film, in these characters, it's not really liberation. I think it's a survival mechanism because the world is really collapsing and the only place there is this building that is also collapsing, which is the zone number one, which is also the irony of the story. And the the characters basically they all want the same thing. They want the possibility to be in a place where they can survive and they can thrive somehow.
Mm.
They don't have a name in the script. Each one has the representation of who they are in the film. So we have the girl who's the believer. So she's trying to use all kinds of beliefs, religious beliefs, or any kind of ritual that will help her connect with the spirit, whichever it is, and all the gods. She's like, let's just
Yeah,
choose
anyone.
all the gods,
Yeah, need them all.
all the things. So she's the believer, and she's trying to use that method to win the citizenship, to win the competition, the swimming competition. And then we have so the believer, the lucky loser. And the lucky loser has problems since the beginning because he has shorts that are too big.
Yeah.
But he's all the time calling the wife, and the wife is like his trainer and giving him all the support. And I feel like we sometimes have also those people in our life, right? That they give you so much energy and so much that it's almost like something that is unrecognizable. Like it's just this little thing that someone said and make you feel so good the whole day or the whole month. Like it's this subtlety also of that relationship. And the other character is
Sort of the hard worker.
he's believing in physical strength as his method for winning. So he is training really hard. He's taking all the vitamins and he brings this, huge cart filled with all the training things. So he believes that physics is what is going to get him
Mm,
to win.
mm, mm.
So which is
I
also
see.
in
I
the
see.
in the three characters, like the
I
trilogy
see.
is the physical, the spiritual, and then the kind of like the I don't know what the lucky winner is, but I don't
Well,
remember all these things right now.
so okay,
Yeah,
so forget all, where you are now, because you're 11 years away from the film. Where
yeah.
you are now is looking back on it, reflecting on yourself. Forget the film. You know, it's about you. And when you're looking back now, seeing that the worldview that you painted then, because the worldview that you painted then is one that I'm hearing now is a worldview where the world is collapsing. Sounds like you still believe that. The world is about survival. Sounds like you're still that's a worldview you painted. And it sounds like the conclusion that you came to in the film 11 years ago is that it's a luck of the draw, it's a roll of the dice.
I think no, it's not only luck, because what I was just saying, I think is a little bit also what we were speaking a little bit before, when you have community, right? When you have support from someone who really sees you, who
Mm,
loves you. It gives you so much
mm,
energy, even if it's the person at the
mm,
coffee shop who every day is happy to see
mm,
you. It's like when you have a pet, everybody that has I don't have a
mm,
pet, but I love animals. And everybody that has a pet always talks about this, which is
mm,
the unconditional love. Like the pet you will come home and the pet will always be happy to see you,
mm.
no matter what. Like it will be really rare that the pet will be upset at you,
Yeah,
because you were away. And it's a little
unconditional
bit of
love.
that. And I think it's a little bit of this subtleness of life, that you are supported by some things that are very subtle sometimes.
Mm,
So he is called the lucky winner, but
mm,
he's supported by this person on the other line who really love him, who really want him to succeed and who sees him as he is, whereas the other two are alone. So
Yeah.
I think that also
So
I like the stories where, and just focusing on pure storytelling. I don't think a lot of people always tell me this. I didn't think he was going to win. The one who wins is not the one people think is going to win. So it's also, this is interesting.
mm.
I just found, I needed to look for this.
Yes, I know
The
what
man,
please
the
tell me what
man,
you were
the
looking
man
for.
who is the sports guy is the perfectionist. So
Okay.
we can say
The
that he's kind of like an OCD person, so it's called the lucky loser, the believer, and the perfectionist
yeah.
are the
Yeah.
ones who are competing for citizenship in the swimming
Yeah.
competition.
So where you are now, right, in your life, in your own life, 11 years, knowing where you were now,
I'm still in the swimming competition,
you're still there.
believe it or not. Yeah.
Is that where you want to be?
Hmm. I mean, it's not that bad, right? I mean, you reach the building that is collapsing, but you know,
Yeah.
I mean, in this case, it was actually pandemic shuffle. I mean, I ended up here because I
Oh.
was here in the pandemic, and then I thought I would always go back, but then 6 years later, I am
Mm,
still here.
mm,
So it was very much. I think there's also this thing where you need to just let go. Somehow life is showing you something else, and yeah, I mean, and I can always go back, but it just
mm.
hasn't happened. Somehow I'm still here.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I made this choice, like, so, which is also interesting. Sometimes you have to go with the flow.
Stepping away from what we've discussed and what are my takeaways about, how we live our life, because my goals are freedom and happiness. And how do I get that? How do I preserve that really? Right? Not acquire it, but preserve it and create the context around me internally, externally that supports that. And I keep coming back to working on myself. I have to constantly be working on my internal purity and cleaning whatever needs cleaning and honoring. And, in the context of the crumbling world, to me, there's certain things that are crumbling, I suppose, and they've always been crumbling from my lens. What is my part? I've gotten to a place where I don't want to be in a swimming competition. I definitely do not want to be in a swimming competition, but I want to be swimming. Like, you know,
Yes.
how do I do that? And I think based on what you've said now, coming back to what my takeaways are the subtleties, listening to those subtleties internally, the connection between the universal and the internal. And so important, what you've said is that unconditional love and the connection to the source of unconditional love, whether that's in a social context or that's in an individual context, are what's vital to our human species and our human condition.
Yeah,
How does that
absolutely.
resonate? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, yeah, what is striking also about, when you make, when you write these stories that are world building, I don't know, I feel like sometimes you're tapped into something that is maybe under the surface, but that maybe, like you said, maybe through your lens, it's already always been collapsing in many ways because of course, I don't know, you come from a different experience. I also come from a different experience as a child, living in a very violent country as a child. So of course, it's a very different experience if someone grew up in a place where everything was good. It's very different. So of course, it's a little bit subjective reality, but I think it's fascinating when you're writing these things and there's something that you tap into. And in this film, um, I think it's very interesting that those feelings are more and more accessible to people that before they hadn't didn't have access to that. So when the film came out in 2012, a lot of people were like, "Oh, okay, well, it's a cool 16 millimeter film, but because life was good, nothing." And then since the pandemic, it's like, oh my God, this film is like it's the same, like it's everybody has this problem with immigration, everybody wants to go somewhere else, or is struggling, or so
Hmm.
there is so those are the feelings that are presented in that film. And of course, because the story doesn't mention any specific real country, then it has this ability to navigate different times. And because it's so sci-fi, because the way it was filmed, we film in this location that is probably today doesn't exist anymore, but it's all these abandoned hotels upstate New York,
Hmm.
which was called the Borscht Belt. And
Really?
yeah, so it was where all
Wow.
the, Russian or Eastern European
Yes, my neck of the
immigration happened.
woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so all these hotels were abandoned at some point since the 80s because it was cheaper to fly. So people didn't vacation there anymore.
Hmm.
They went
Hmm.
to Florida, to the beach. And so there were all these beautiful places that at some point were really
Hmm.
astonishing. And, Frank Sinatra will go there and sing, like all these famous people from New York will go there, do stand-up comedy, it was like a big deal.
Huge.
And that is also interesting
Very.
because, what was there is not there anymore, it's falling apart. And I had seen a photo of this swimming pool and I was like, we have to film there. And we had all the team looking for this swimming pool.
Wow.
Um, so every location is really chosen also with the imagination, like I treat location as character.
Sure.
So then, of course, all these feelings are also have to do with the locations, have to do with the swimming pool that is falling
Beautiful.
apart, the grandiosity of the swimming pool, because then when you enter, also it's so
Beautiful.
beautiful. So then you are, yeah, this is so number one, even
It
if
was
the swimming
amazing
pool is
because,
empty.
like, I looked at the woodwork. The
Yeah,
woodwork looks like it's contemporary. I thought they were renovating it.
yeah, it's so sad. Yeah,
No, they're not.
no,
I thought it
yeah.
was in mid-renovation stage.
Yeah, I
Huh.
know. I think the last time I saw a photo of that swimming pool, people had found it and it's full of
Graffiti.
graffiti.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And also something interesting about the film is that it was one of the first campaign for Kickstarter. Like
Oh, is that right? Wow.
one of my producers was like, we need to do this in Kickstarter. And I was so against it. This is
Hmm.
maybe 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, 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 let's apply. The other producer was like, yeah, let's apply because at that time you need to apply to see. And if you get
Ah,
in, we were like, yeah, we need $10,000. It was very, very little money. And I
it's
remember
all
that
relative.
yeah, and then, but we made them because we were filming in film. So it was so
Yeah.
expensive, all these
Yeah.
things.
Right. You're using film. Yeah.
So that's also an interesting thing about the film. I even got interviewed after we made that campaign because a lot of people actually here in Europe, they were like, oh, what is that? How is that
Mhm.
crowdsourcing now? How does it work? So that film is also interesting because of that. It's one of those first ones that you
That's
needed to
cool. Interesting.
apply.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Margarita Jimeno, thank you so much for being on Play It Forward.
Thank you, Kostia.
We're talking about swimming away. We're gonna post this. We'll share all the links to the relevant stuff where people can check out what you're doing now. And really appreciate the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.